Hey everybody, it's Goots' Wrestling Pod, and I'm your host Ray Goots, along with Andrew Lee, who has stepped away. Andrew, you there, bro?
Yeah, man, I'm just enjoying life, bro. I
He,
am getting effed up. You
he's
want me
getting
to? You want to watch me take this whole can to my
he's
mouth?
getting drunk. He rewatched Arcade '86 after he watched WrestleMania 3.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you mentioned that. So last time we were on the podcast, we were talking about Starrcade '86, and you said during the main event you can see Nikita Koloff's penis pop out when he gets suplexed. Well,
Yeah,
luckily, there's only like one suplex in that match, right?
yeah.
So I went back
Luckily,
and I watched it. You absolutely can see Nikita Koloff's penis pop out.
how is that not? How did they keep that even on Peacock?
Yeah, you guys have to understand. You can go on Peacock right now. Go to Stargate 86. It's like 3 hours and 30 minutes in. There's only one suplex Ric Flair gives Nikita Koloff. He Ric Flair gives a suplex, and as he lays down, you see his penis out, and the referee notices it, and he just pulls the tights right over it, and Nikita just pops right back up. And initially, I thought Nikita popped up because he's trying to no sell the suplex, but now I'm thinking he popped up because he was so pissed off that when Ric Flair suplexed him, I think Ric Flair grabbed his tights awkwardly to make his penis,
Yeah. Well,
and he
also
was
like
mad
he's
about it.
probably like
Dude,
a
a penis can't just pop out of a suplex like that. You have to have pulled the tights awkwardly for a penis to pop out like that. And
yeah.
I
I've
think
never seen a penis pop out again. So I have a theory because you know how they like edited out like that WrestleMania 6 match with Roddy Piper, and they edited out like the DX sketch with the Nation. I feel like nobody even watches these old WCW shows, so that's why this has
I
never
don't
been
think so
edited.
either. You're
Yeah,
right.
I don't think
But yeah,
anyone watches Starcade '86 except for us.
if you
Two people told me, oh, because the VHS copy was edited. Oh, that's the edit. That's not the real version. The edit. I'm like, no, it's the real version. It's 4 hours long. And like people are like, "Oh my god, it is!" Like nobody even realizes it's an unedited copy of Starcade '86. So
4 hours long, penis intact.
penis intact. So I think that they just never watched it, and no one's ever saying it because no one's watched it on Peacock besides
Can
us.
I just I'm a big fan of like seeing like seeing the X-rated stuff that wrestlers do. So
Mhm.
I've seen AR Fox's hardcore porn.
Okay,
I've seen I've seen Lars Sullivan. I've
hardcore
seen his
porn.
porn. Yeah, I've seen them all because I'm just
I've
curious.
seen them all. I have the whole collection.
I just looked at Ricochet's and Seth Rollins leak. I just like looking at everything, but it's really interesting. But I couldn't believe they had that on Peacock too.
Dude. They
You
never,
can,
they have, they it's just there.
it's
It's
just there.
top.
You see a penis,
It's
and the
just, it's
referee
so.
notices it. The ref just fucking tucks it over, and he's pissed. You can see Nikita's clearly
But
pissed
I gotta
off.
say, Tommy Young was like a ninja with that move. He just goes, whoop! He just sees
Yeah,
it.
he doesn't touch it. He just notices it and makes sure the tights are fixed. Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
quick. How
he's
did you know
really
that?
like
How did
on
you
top
know
of
that?
it. What?
How did you know that the penis came out?
Conrad mentioned it to Tony one time,
Really?
and yeah, and I think they were like, "Oh, it's probably not still in there." They didn't watch Arcade '86 yet, but because I think Ric Flair's told the story, I think to like Conrad or maybe Ric Flair talked about it with Conrad or somebody. So I was like, let me see if this is still on Peacock, and then there it was, his fucking cock,
Yeah.
his Russian sickle, if you will, dude.
I'm so sorry. All right. Penis,
No,
anyway, guys.
dude.
Starcade 86 if you want to see a penis.
Yeah, it's the only thing worth seeing in that fucking show, dude. Here's the thing, man. You know, I watched WrestleMania 1 through 5 a lot as a kid, right? And
Yeah.
I never really I watched I like Starkey '87. Dave Meltzer claims, and it's so funny. Dave Meltzer reviewed the Sami Zayn match without seeing the Sami Zayn match. He didn't watch it. Did you listen to that clip?
I
Because he got
didn't
home from the
know.
New Japan show.
I know he was at the New Japan show Battle of the Valley, but I didn't know he reviewed.
Dude, there's a half hour segment of him and Brian Alvarez talking about that match. and they're complaining about it, and Dave Meltzer's yet to watch it. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you record this? You sound like
exactly. That's a
you
very good
sound like
point.
this is why this guy's an idiot. This guy useless. You should have been like, let me watch the whole fucking show, and then I can give my expert Dave Meltzer. Instead, he's like shitting on the Sami Zayn match, and there's a lot. Well, that's another story. But it's like,
He's an
but he
idiot.
also
He really is an idiot.
he brought up the how Starrcade '87 ruined the NWA. I think the NWA was already ruined if we got to Starrcade '87. How could you, watching these shows on the timeline, how can you watch Starrcade '86 and then go to WrestleMania 3 and be like, oh, the NWA is in good shape? How do you like, dude? This was like light years better than what the NWA was doing. This show.
So just to put it into context, guys,
Mm-hmm.
because it sounds like it's almost like years apart.
No.
Starrcade '86, which was the last podcast review just last week, was on November 27th, 1986, right?
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 3, which we're going to be reviewing today, was on March 29th, 1987. So if you count it, it's about December, January, February, March. It's 4 months apart. There's a 4-month difference between Starrcade '86 and WrestleMania 3. And let me tell you something. There is a world of difference.
Dude, it feels like 20 years have passed.
It is like comparing, it is like everyone uses this analogy about like how when you watch The Wizard of Oz, it goes from black and white in the beginning to color. This is exactly that. Because the reason with that whole comparison is that it happens in a split second in the Wizard of Oz. It goes from like literally black and white, and a few seconds later, it's color. That's what this is like. Starrcade '86 is literally 4 months before WrestleMania 3, and it is night and day.
Dude, you know what? You know what frustrates me, and again, like this podcast has made me not feel bad for anyone in Jim Crockett Promotions.
I agree. They brought it upon themselves.
You know what? You know what? Because I'll listen to podcasts with Arn and Ric Flair and a couple other guys, and they'll be like, "Oh, end of '86, beginning of '87, we were rolling." And I remember Conrad said to Arn, did you guys watch WrestleMania 3? Were you guys like, oh shit, what are they doing? He's like, no, we were just doing our thing. Things were great. And that to me is pathetic. Like this is what I guarantee you, if I sat down Jim Crockett and Dusty Rhodes and made them watch WrestleMania 3 and said to them at the end, are there any lessons you can take from this to improve your own show? I guarantee you they would have said to me, no. And that's why Dusty wound up being Vince's bitch at the end, no offense. And that's why Jim Crockett went out of business. Because these guys did not take any lessons from what Vince was doing. They just kept doing their own dumb shit. And they didn't go under because Starrcade '87 was shit. Shut the fuck up. They went under because their shit was bad for years. It wasn't even remotely close to what Vince was doing.
Here's the thing, too. Starrcade '86 is called Night of the Skywalker. I'm gonna tell you right now. To me, that's fucking cheap. You know why?
You're stealing from Star Wars.
Ripping off an existing fucking property.
Yeah.
You're so fucking lame that you have to try to rip off. Like, oh, you don't know.
Even War Games is ripping off the '80s movie.
I don't fucking care. You're still ripping off. Why don't I just make a movie right now called Andrew Lee, The Quantum Mania? Why don't I just do that, you fucking assholes? WrestleMania 3 does not do any of that fucking. WrestleMania 3 is not called WrestleMania 3, The Return of Jaws. It's not fucking called something like that, okay? Yeah, it's just WrestleMania 3, all right? And you guys, you've said something to me that made so much sense. It's not that Vince McMahon Jr. was a genius. It was just that his opponents were morons.
Yeah,
they're idiots, and I
set in their ways.
Believe that.
And then you have people like Meltzer and these other reporters of the day, defending them. They want to say shit like, "Oh, Starrcades were just as good as WrestleMania," and no, they weren't, dude. No, they weren't. Like, get out of here with that. Like, dude, they just were so upset. These guys were so upset that Vince was doing things differently. And he was catering to kids our age rather than these fucking wrestling nerds back then. And they were so pissed. And yes, there's a lot you can shit on Vince for. There's a lot you can criticize him for this. But I remember this guy on Twitter yesterday was like, Vince McMahon, he got his father's company and he had his dance money. All of that doesn't mean shit if he's booking and filming the shows like Jim Crockett Promotions. Okay, he didn't inherit the production of WrestleMania 3. He made that. He hired people who knew what they were doing. He was smart enough to hire people who knew what they were doing. These guys weren't. That's why they went on. There was no unfair advantage. Was he rich? Did his dad have a good promotion? Sure. But he fucking took to the next level because he knew who to work with and he knew who to push and he knew how to send fans home happy. And that, I mean, come on, man. They want to always diminish this shit. And it's like, just accept the fact that WrestleMania 3 changed the fucking game and these guys were sent packing back where they belong. They belong running a fucking diner.
It was an ass kicking. And we're going to review this ass kicking. WrestleMania 3 from the Pontiac Silverdome, which no longer exists, in Pontiac, Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I did not know Pontiac was a fucking place. It's an actual place, right?
Place, yes.
Yeah, right? It's actually an actual city in Michigan. They get Aretha Franklin to sing the national anthem, which I was like...
That's the other thing. I was like thinking about it.
How
like,
do you do that?
He probably called her up and said, here's some money. I mean, you know, that's the other thing. Aretha Franklin is such a better celebrity than all the fucking hick country western guys that WCW has. Dude, like,
this is how WrestleMania goes. WrestleMania 1, who sings the national anthem? Gene Okerlund. Okay, I'm like, I get that. WrestleMania 2, Ray Charles. I'm like, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah, he's a big star. He's another legend.
It's like Aretha Franklin. I'm like, what the fuck? What is going on? How do you go from Gene Okerlund to fucking Aretha Franklin? It's fucking crazy.
But like Aretha Franklin, like she's the queen of soul. Motown was in that part of the country. I mean, like, yeah,
that's right.
That's a classy celebrity to start. So right away, you're starting it off with like one of the rock and roll, one of the biggest legends in rock and soul music. So right away, your event is already classier than Starrcade's. Right?
Absolutely. And while she's singing, they're showing you all these images of blue collar America, and they're showing you like a construction worker, a telephone pole worker. I'm like, what? A crossing guard? Do you think that was so weird? They were showing.
They do that a lot for the old manias. I think he's like, this is the average WWE fan.
Yeah. You can see Vince McMahon. You can see Junior really indoctrinating his audience that this is the blue collar company, and the theme of the night. And it's just like, when you see this, and it's like all these images of smiling people doing shitty jobs, you're like, wow. And you're like, you hear the national anthem while I was playing. It's like, this is how he's viewing like America and his audience. And it's very interesting. You get Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, and they're the commentators, and they've got this is different from WrestleMania 2, where it took place in multiple locations. It's only taking place in one location. And though because of that, they only have 2 commentators, but you also have 2 guest commentators with them. Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight and Bob Uecker from Mr. Belvedere.
And he was also a baseball announcer. Do you think Dave Meltzer was like, he's a biased baseball announcer because he's working for Vince?
Yeah. Dave Meltzer, I want to call him an idiot because I think he's so fucking stupid.
Dude, he's talked so much shit about this event. And every time he runs this event, also, he likes to go, they lied about the attendance record. Listen to me. I don't care. There were still more people in that building than any other wrestling event before it. So they already won. I don't care if they lied by 20,000.
As I said, I want to call this guy a fucking idiot because of the stupid shit that comes out of this guy's fucking mouth and pen. But the fact that this guy has no business in the wrestling industry, who's made a living out of the wrestling industry, I don't know if he's an idiot. He might be one of the fucking smartest people.
He's built a living on getting money from people who this stinks. The other wrestling
in a way, he's one of the smartest fucking people in the world, right? Isn't that crazy?
He watched his event. he watched this event not with his jaw on the floor, but being critical of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Where
It
in
reminds me of
reality, this
some
is like,
bookers in comedy.
I'm sorry?
Reminds me of some bookers in comedy.
Yeah, where in reality, really he was thinking like, "Holy shit, this changes everything." That's, but he
Yeah,
didn't want to say that.
absolutely.
He
Yeah.
didn't want to say that. But yeah, Mary Hart, and also the other thing I noticed is how much more confident Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon are on
Oh,
camera. They're
I
not
gotta talk
nervous. They're
about
not shaking.
Jesse Ventura and Gorilla Monsoon. The pay per view we reviewed right before this, obviously, Starrcade '86, with some of the worst fucking commentary I've ever heard in my entire life. And Tony Schiavone's on this. And let me tell you something. I bet you, even if you ask Tony Schiavone today, he would say that was not one of his better performances.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I hope
awful.
he does. I hope he
This
does.
is one of the best examples of wrestling commentary I've ever heard in my entire life. This
Mm-hmm.
pay-per-view. Let me tell you guys something. When WrestleMania 3 came out, I was about 4 or 5 years old. I did not get to watch it. I did not watch the entirety of WrestleMania 3, the whole thing until this week. And let me tell you, it
Oh
is
wow!
one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow! I can't
And
believe I
this is stands up against the test of time,
yeah.
buddy.
This is
No
like the
rose-colored glasses. I'm being
This is
serious.
like the 13th or 14th time I've watched this all the way through in my life.
The entire thing. I've never seen this thing from the
Yeah, no, I've
entire
seen. Yeah,
from beginning to end. And I'm telling you, this is one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen in my entire life. And this is not a biased statement because I didn't watch it early on where you're impressionable. I'm fucking 40 years old and I'm watching this and I'm going, is it one of the best pay-per-views I've ever fucking seen? I'm like, yeah. Is it the best? No. But
no.
is it one of the
But
best?
is it the
Absolutely.
but here's the deal, for its time, because
Oh,
nobody knows that Shawn Michaels gonna have a ladder match. Nobody knows about Austin or The
yeah.
Rock or Kenny Omega.
Mhm.
So for its time, is it fucking incredible? 110%.
110%, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to go right to our first match. It is Rick Martel and Tom Zink, who is the Can-Am connection, the Canadian-American connection, versus Ace Cowboy, Bob Orton, and Dom Rocker with Mr. Fuji. There's no story build up for this, but Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, we're talking about the commentary team. This is a great example. They tell you the story of this wrestling match. And this is the story of this wrestling match. Don Morocco is huge and he's powerful. Bob Orton is a technician in the ring. So if Can-Am wants to beat them, they have to use their speed and agility. This is my favorite story in wrestling, where it's the fast guy has to beat the bigger, powerful guy. And these commentators illustrate this story for you so eloquently that there doesn't need to be any history between these two teams. You just know that's the story. It's two fast agility guys versus the two big, smarter guys, experienced guys. There was a great moment where they're feeling out, and then he starts doing the action kicks in, Jesse Ventura goes, the feeling out process is over. I'm like, yeah, fucking love it. There is a miscommunication by the heel. Bob Orton gets sent out of the ring, and Rick Martel, he crossbodies Don Morocco, and as Don Morocco's falling backwards, he trips over Tom Zink, and he gets covered for the win for the Can-Am connection to win. What did you think about this first opening match?
Sorry, I just want to see something. I liked it a lot. I do kind of wish there's a couple of acts here I wish that we had seen more of. And I do wish Tom Zink had. I like the Kingdom Connection as a tag team a lot. I like him better than Strike Force, and I wish he had lasted. But he went.
Who was Strike Force again? What team was Strike Force?
Tito and Rick Martel.
Tito and Rick Martel.
But what basically Can-Am Connection was supposed to be like the team, and then Tom Zink just left, and he had like a fight with Vince, and then they just put Tito in his place and changed the name to Strike Force. But I really do wish like we had seen more of Can-Am Connection. I like them as a tag team.
So. Tom Zink would go on to WCW as a Z-Man, right?
Yeah, and he would team with Brian Pillman. He's kind of like with Kofi. He's kind of like a Kofi that never won the world title over there. Like he kind of was always like in the mid card or upper echelon, and then one day they just let him go. But I wish he had stayed in WWE more because I think there was a lot of potential with the Can-Am connection, but it wasn't meant to
He
be.
supposedly left because of a pay dispute,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which is understandable.
And then
And
he
yeah,
testified against Vince in the trial, so that meant he was never going back
yeah,
anywhere.
that's right. He was never going to be invited back, and
Well, he's dead now. He's also dead now.
he's died very young, under 60 years old. He died at 59
He
in
used,
2017.
dude, when WWF bought WCW, he used to do Dave Meltzer's podcast all the time. He was like a
Oh,
guest all the time, and he would just go on and shit on everybody with Brian Alvarez. This is like right around the time WCW went under.
I remember having WCW trading cards, and I remember seeing Z-Man
Mhm.
and thinking how much of a fucking loser name that was.
Yeah, he should have stayed in WWF. I think they would have because this was a good match, and this match was sorely to put these two guys over. Morocco
Yeah,
and Bob Orton did a great job.
this is a
Um,
great opening
and
match.
the crowd loves the team, and I like the name, the Can-Am Connection. There's just something cool about this team, and it's one of like the shortest lived. And I think if they didn't get a WrestleMania match, people wouldn't remember them. Let me just here's the other thing too. I don't care how much money you drew somewhere else. If you're Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, if you wrestled at WrestleMania 3, you fucking won. Doesn't matter that you became a loser later on in life, like Hercules or whatever. You fucking won if you had a match at WrestleMania 3. You
Yeah,
know that if you were wrestling in the 80s and you wrestled in this show, you're the fucking man.
because you are now etched in history, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And while I disagree with you about the name, I wasn't a big fan of the name Can-Am
Mhm.
Expression,
Mhm.
a connection. I will say this was an excellent opening match.
Yeah.
You get the
They were a
fans are
good team.
excited. The fans are happy that the good guys won. You're right. The heels did a great job putting over the fucking good-looking young guys. It's perfect. Perfect opening match. Quick, a lot of action. Perfect.
Yeah.
Then we get to our first video package that shows the history of the next match. It is Billy Jack Haynes and Hercules, the full Nelson challenge. See, both guys use full Nelson, and Billy Jack Haynes is a good guy. Hercules attacked him and stuff. Gene Okerlund is then after the video package. Gene Okerlund is with Bobby Heenan and Hercules actually cuts a good promo. I didn't realize Hercules Hernandez could. Who they dropped the Hernandez parts. It's just Hercules now, and I didn't realize he can cut a good promo, but he did cut a good run. And Bobby Heenan, this is Stokely Hathaway needs to fucking watch this, all right? Because this is what he should have been doing when he was with Jade. When the people that you're representing can actually cut a promo, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You stand there, you let the guy cut the promo, and after he's done cutting the promo, you do what Bobby Heenan did, and you do a small little joke at the end. Just to
Billy
that's all you gotta do.
Jerkins.
What?
Billy Jerkins.
Yeah, Billy Jerkins. That's all. If you watch this promo, that's all Bobby Heenan does. And the fucking intensity comes from fucking Hercules. And this is where Stokely Hathaway, if you watch old AEW where he's with Jade, this is the mistake Stokely makes. Because he makes it all about himself like everybody.
Well, that's all they know how to do is make it about themselves.
Yes,
Here's the
exactly.
thing: Bobby Heenan knew when it wasn't about himself, and that's why people remember him more than Hercules. By making it about Hercules, he's more memorable than Hercules.
I'll snap for that. All right, we go to match number 2, Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules with Bobby Heenan. There's a back and forth commentary between Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura in this match is fucking excellent.
Yeah.
And because there isn't, both guys look great, but there isn't a lot of like substance in this match. So if you're watching this, you need something to compel you, and this is where the commentary. I don't know. It seemed like they understood that this match was gonna be like just plain. So they fucking put a lot of. They put the conflict in the competition. There is a full Nelson applied by Billy Jack Haynes outside. The referee counts it out, double count out, stupid fucking finish. Bobby Heenan strikes Billy Jack Haynes, and there's a chase, and then ultimately they end up back in the ring. And Hercules, who's wearing these chains, he uses his chains and he hits Billy Jack Haynes, who starts bleeding on the head. This will be the only episode of blood, I believe, in this entire pay-per-view. And Hercules gets out of the ring and he gets into one of those little ring carts.
Yeah.
and he almost falls off because as soon as he gets in, the driver just fucking backs out. Hercules almost falls. He goes and he fucking starts yelling at the driver, which was fucking fantastic
Yeah.
to me. What did you think of this match, man?
Um, I liked this match more when I was a kid. I remember like I really so these two matches are significant for me because they both have acts I feel like they could have got more out of. I know Billy Jack Hayes has revealed himself to be like kind of insane. He's like a lunatic. Like
Mm-hmm.
like he remember he's claiming that Vince killed. I don't know if you ever saw the shooting interview where he says Vince killed Chris Benoit and his kid. He believes
Wait,
that.
wait, Billy Jack Kane said, "Wait, what?"
That Vince killed Chris Benoit and his family.
It
Something to that effect.
doesn't work. I'm assuming.
Well, no, he's crazy. He's like crazy.
So Billy Jack Haynes truly believes Vince McMahon killed not only Chris Benoit but Chris Benoit's wife and his son.
I believe he thinks that Vince went into the house and did it. Yeah.
For what motive?
I don't know because he didn't get a push because Billy Jack Hayes didn't get a push, and but I mean I would have liked to see more. I was surprised looking back how decisively they beat the shit out of Billy Jack Hayes at the end. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
but I
Remember,
do think
this is after the match. This is
yeah
during the match is very even.
yeah, but then at the end it's pretty clear. But you know what though? I think I know looking back at history, Hercules had more of an upside. He was the guy to go with.
Oh, Hercules! I was a fan of Hercules when I was a kid, and he did look good in this. He always looked good. I always
Yeah,
felt he looked
he's a
good.
guy who's very underrated. I mean, also we were talking about WrestleMania 2, like watching that with a more critical eye, that he was a much better worker than a lot of people on that card. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think he's the guy that just he doesn't get the credit he deserves. And again, like I said, for some reason they don't put him in video games. They never made an action figure of him.
Of
There's no
Hercules, right?
yeah, there's no T-shirts. There's
Why is
nothing of
that?
this guy.
Because wait, Hercules left. By the way, Hercules left WWE in a bad way. He didn't leave
Well,
in.
Bruce Pritchard said claims it wasn't bad. The reason why I also think about Hercules is I listened to something to Russell about the guy, and Bruce Pritchard said he never heard anyone say anything bad about Hercules, but he could be lying. He said
No, but
because
he
Conrad was like
left
he
badly.
just got up and left after Sid powerbombed him. Do you
Yeah,
know
yeah,
like
he left badly. That's leaving badly, dude. That's not leaving nicely.
according to Bruce Pritchard, nobody cared about that. That's what he said. He said we didn't care that he did that. Vince didn't care he did that.
I don't know. That's you know what that's the equivalent of in my opinion. It's like when a couple of years ago, when John Morrison or Johnny
Oh,
Impact,
Austin Theory, yeah,
Austin Aries just got up and left as soon as
Austin
he
Theory.
got. It's disrespectful to I guess the performance of your opponent, and I think you guys can actually see this on YouTube. You can see it where Sid power bombs Hercules, and as soon as the cover is done, he just gets up and leaves. Like doesn't sell anything. He just gets up and leaves.
Yeah,
And I think they might not say it's a big deal, but if you and I can think it's a big deal, you know it's probably a big deal.
yeah. I mean, Conrad tried to get Bruce to say like, yeah, we were all like, "Fuck Hercules" after that, but he kept being like, "No, no, there's no problem with Hercules." He
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
like.
then why isn't he featured? Right? Exactly.
Well, that's
Because
what he asked. How come we never brought him back? How come he was never brought as a legend? And Bruce goes, "Well, I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I never really thought about it." And it was just like maybe he's hiding. Maybe there is a real reason, but they're just not saying it. I don't know.
what
It's
about Billy Jack Haynes? What happens with Billy Jack Haynes?
he just became a Looney Tune. Apparently he was really hard to do.
Okay, and both Billy Jack Haynes will not be back after this paper, right?
He wrestles for a little bit more in '87. He's gone, but by the time we get to Survivor Series, he's gone. We never see him again. He wrestles a little bit in WCW under a mask, but other than that, he really didn't do much in his career. But I thought
Once
he looked good in
again,
this match. He has a good look.
yeah, I believe I could be wrong, but I believe this is the only time we're going to see blood in this pay per view.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So if you're keeping count, Starcade '86, more than half the matches it will have blood. There's only one blood in this fucking match.
And you know
Jesus
what?
Christ.
this one little piece of blood, it gets over her. It gets over Hercules, and it sets him up. If you want to,
Oh,
pull the
by
trigger
the
with
way, it
Hercules,
makes sense. He got hit in the fucking head with fucking
but I mean,
chains.
like, they
Yeah.
only used it once, and it was to get
Mhm.
Hercules over as a threat. So if you decide, the thing I like about some of these early shows is that they leave themselves room. If they decide to go with someone, there's room to do it. So like
Yes.
Hercules show that he's a threat. Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man, like there's all these little threads that they can pick up and run with if they decide, like, if I don't know, Hogan quits in the middle of the night, you know what I mean, or some shit.
I hate blading. I fucking hate it. I think it's
Yeah.
cheap. I think it's overused. I think it's
Oh, it's
fucking
especially overused in AEW. How much you want to
it's
bet John
cheesy.
Moxley bleeds tonight in this match with Evil Uno?
Oh yeah, he's gonna
Like
bleed.
a
It's
fucking idiot.
cheesy. It looks so stupid. It's so unbelievable. And W WrestleMania 3 proved that you could tell great stories without blading.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna only have there's 12 fucking matches on this pay-per-view. There's only one match that has it, and you because there's only one match that has it, and a match that fucking actually doesn't really isn't that really good, it puts it gives that moment more like emphasis because there is the only match with blood.
Yeah.
So it does what it's just. That's when it should be used, you fucking NWA idiots, you fucking losers. You guys are losers. No offense to people. You know what? No
Now
offense.
let
I
them,
take it back.
because
I
they,
do
they
want
want to
offense.
wax
Fuck you guys.
poetic. They want to, like Ric Flair said. Oh, if Ric Flair claims that if they claim that because they took Starcade to Chicago in 1987, if he didn't do
Mhm.
that, we'd still be in business. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're booking.
Fuck,
Because I'll tell
fuck
you what,
you.
from what I remember, and again, next we shouldn't keep talking about Starcade 87. My whole opinion of it might change next week. Starcade 87 was a better book show than Starcade 86, but maybe I'm misremembering. We'll find out.
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
Right now at this point, the word Starcade reminds me of fucking like poop that hangs out of my asshole.
It reminds me about, you know what? It's like less than Bound for Glory at this point.
Yes, exactly, absolutely. I would rather watch
Right? Well, we are going to
fucking
watch Bound for Glories when we
lockdowns.
get there.
Yeah, and Bound for Glory before this fucking garbage of Starcade. All
Mm-hmm.
right, Gene Okerlund, he's in the back with King Kong Bundy, and he's surrounded by little people. He's talking about Hillbilly Jim and how he's gonna get Hillbilly Jim. Bob Uecker joins the commentary as the heels will come into the ring. Gene Okerlund also interviews Little Beaver, the Haiti Kid, and Hillbilly Jim, and they talk about King Kong Bundy. These little people and Hillbilly Jim are the first ones to actually get entrance music. And we go to our match number 3. It is I guess you call it a trios match.
Yeah.
It is King Kong Bundy,
They're the
Little
same size as the Young Bucks, so you can say.
Yeah. Ooh, Bill, it's King Kong Bundy, Little Tokyo, and Lord Littlebrook versus Little Beaver, the Haiti Kid, who had previously gotten his head shaved by Roddy
He was
Piper.
little T, and now he turned bad.
Yes, Haiti. No, he was good guy in this. Haiti Kid was a good guy in this.
Oh, Haiti Kids with Hillbilly Jim. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Little Beaver, Haiti Kid, and Hillbilly Jim together. So, this match is happening, and Little Beaver is just caught. He is, as usual, it's a beaver that's the cause of all the problems.
Yeah.
The little beaver is just causing all sorts of mayhem. So, he keeps like fucking pestering King Kong Bundy when he's not even to be the legal man in the ring and everything. He keeps nagging King Kong Bundy. Ultimately, King Kong Bundy's had enough, and he just fucking picks fucking Little Beaver up, drops him, and then just drops an elbow on Little Beaver. This fucking makes the audience like gasp.
Yeah.
Because King Kong Bundy is like over 300 pounds, and this guy's a fucking little person. The ref just calls a DQ because the point of this match, even though it's a trio match, is little people fight the little people and the big guys fight the big guy. Everyone is mad at King Kong Bundy. The audience, the referee, even King Kong Bundy's little people, Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook are like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro? What the fuck?" And everyone's mad at King Kong Bundy. He's just like enemy number one, public enemy number one. What did you think about this match?
I mean, the match was whatever, but the finish was great. The finish, I always remember that finish. I remember how brutal it looked on the midget, and it really got Bundy over as just this complete scumbag. So, like the
Oh yeah,
match
they throw
itself,
that hard M word around.
look, this is a this is a very good example. Did Ric Flair and Nikita Koloff have a better match? Technically, yeah, sure they did. But this had the better finish, and this is why this match is unforgettable, and nobody gives a shit about Nikita Ric Flair.
That is unless they know about the penis. I'm gonna tell you
Unless they
something.
know about the penis, yeah.
Unless they know
Well,
about the
even like,
penis.
okay, let's another Dusty Rhodes and Tully Blanchard. Was the work in that match by better? Yes, but the finish was so bad, nobody talks about it. People still talk about this match. It didn't have to be a good match because it had such a good finish.
Unless there was a penis in that match as well. But
Well,
yes,
King Kong Buddy was going to pull out his penis and dump it on the
yeah.
guy's
This,
forehead.
it was
Imagine,
great. Watching a humongous guy squash a little person, it was like
imagine if King Kong Bundy took his balls out and like teabagged the midget.
people have said that this match is what like was like downgrade for King Kong Bundy, and I kind
I don't
of
think
can
so.
see that because he went from like main eventing the previous WrestleMania to now just wrestling with little
But
people.
like
But
every match besides the two big ones would have been a downgrade. Who could he have fought? I mean, what are you gonna have him like fight like Billy Jack? Like who could he have fought? Billy Jack Hayes, Coco Beware. There's really no one for him to fight on this card. You know?
yeah, and you know what? I think I felt like they were trying to build him up. To me, like I said, I've heard this. I never really I never watched. This is the first time I ever watched this match because I don't like matches like
Yeah, I
this.
remember this match for years. Yeah.
I will say the visual of a big fat bald guy with no neck just fucking elbow dropping a little person is a tremendous.
Yeah,
That's a great ending. That's a
I think it
great
got
ending.
him over. I think.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think so too. Dude, you know what it did? It made people like not like this guy, which is what you
yeah,
want in
and
a
then you
heel.
want to see King Kong. I mean, you want to see Hillbilly Jim or somebody get him, and it
Yeah,
kept him over as a bad guy. You know?
the fact that even his little people were like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I love that.
because it
Yeah.
like it was. You think it's gonna be a comedy match, and then
Mm-hmm.
he just does something like unthinkable, and then there's like, oh, this isn't funny. This guy's a fucking piece of shit. That's
Yeah,
good.
it was. That's exactly what you want to hear. Not that MJF, but you get to the
MJF
battle.
would have raped a midget.
Yeah.
MJF would have like
Ooh, oh, you know, I got drunk with a little person once, and we
MJF would have
crashed the
stabbed
car,
the
and I
midget, and then
switched
like,
seats with the little person. Oh no.
dude, I'm shocked by the way how much I spoke to two people who say that they don't like MJF anymore at all. Like not even like we like to boo him. They just don't care about him anymore. They have completely ruined him, and he's the
I
blame for a lot of it.
I would say he probably ruined himself. I don't think
I agree. I agree.
I have not watched AEW in over 2 weeks, and I kind of need to watch it tonight to just kind of like,
Dude, I think they should. This let me tell you how bad this is going. I think I originally think they were going to have MJF win. And I still think I would have Daniel Bryan win this. I would give the belt to Daniel Bryan and try to figure out what to do with MJF.
the reason why I haven't watched AEW in a while because I feel like every time I watch it, like the booking, this is how I think the booking process goes. It goes Tony Khan going like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. I feel like that's how he fucking does it, right? And I'm not into that. All
His
right,
big
we go to
announcement tonight
that.
is he got more coke. That's his big announcement.
Yeah,
You know, it's his big
exactly.
announcement tonight.
This is
We're
what we're
recording
gonna
this
do.
Wednesday before Dynamite, so
Yeah, Mary Hart is in the back
with
with
MJF.
Miss Elizabeth. By the way, Mary Hart will not be the last Entertainment Tonight person to work with WB. It'll be many, many decades later, Maria Menounos, right?
No,
She's
she's
an
Access Hollywood. Different.
she's back in Hollywood. It's the same kind of show. Mary Hart is with Liz, Miss Elizabeth, and she's about to interview Miss Elizabeth, ask her a question. Macho Man just interrupts, and he starts talking. Mary Hart goes like, "I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Miss Elizabeth," and she tries to get Miss Elizabeth to talk. There's a point where Macho Man raises his hand, but he raises his hand in a way where it looks like he's just like doing his Macho Man thing. But when he raises his hand, you can see Elizabeth go, "Whoa!" Like she fucking like flinches, and she doesn't speak because of that. And it's such a fucking great subtle moment of like, does this guy hit her or does he not?
Yeah.
I love this gimmick.
Dude, the Macho Man, they don't talk about this, but the Macho Man saga that goes on throughout the WrestleManias between him and Liz, that goes from this WrestleMania to 8, is probably one of the best storylines WWE. It's like better than the Bloodline. No one talks
Oh,
about it, but there is
so
like
good.
an arc between them and it involves Ricky. It goes from Ricky Steamboat to $1 Million Man, to Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, to Ric Flair. Like it's a really, and this is like the start of the storyline between them. And while he's having a storyline with this woman, he's stealing the show. So it's
Yes,
like, dude,
dude.
Macho Man is just the greatest of all time. No
This is
one
on
gives
a
him that
different
credit.
level. This is not. They're not doing anything like this right now. And
No,
I'm not. If you guys are going like, "Whoa, you fucking love this because of wife beating," no, this is
no.
why I like it because it is so subtle.
It's up
You
to
cannot
interpretation.
tell if that's what they're referencing or
It's
not.
up it's up to
Yeah,
interpretation, and eventually,
exactly. I
when the
fucking love that.
story ends, like I consider WrestleMania 8 the end of the Macho Man Elizabeth storyline.
Yeah,
He is a good guy and he treats her right and they're married and they're together. But like at the start, at the time, you're like, does he abuse her? Does he not?
yeah. It's
Does he
like it
love
makes you
her?
question.
I
They
know she
never.
loves him, but she could do better. Like, yeah,
Yeah, they never fully say that he hits her. They never give that full moment that he hits her.
but
Even
there's
as part
moments
when he
like
leaves.
Mary Hart's like trying to get Liz, and the fact that they incorporate celebrities, like they're not celebrities isn't just there to like waste time. The fact that Mary Hart's like, come on, Liz, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah. And she interrupts her, and then when he raises her hand and she does that flinch, like, oh, and she legit gasps, like, oh, you can see, but it's not like he raises his hand to hit her like this. He like
yeah,
raises his arm to pose, and she just flinches at that. But the fact that she flinched at that, that's the fucking subtleness. And
yeah.
you see even Mary Hart kind of have this like look on her face, like, what is that? What is that? Like she
Yeah.
knows she saw something that maybe is a little odd. And I fucking love this. Dude, this is what we're missing, not just in wrestling, but in entertainment today.
Well, that's why the Jay Uso shit is so getting over because Jay Uso just you don't know really. You kind of know what he's thinking, but you don't. Like,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's why
You know what
it's
it's like?
so. That's why the storyline's going over so well.
It's like the one time AEW does me right, where you think CM Punk is there, but he's not there, right? Like, because they kept dropping hints, but you don't know. They never say fully he's there. You just go, it's called the first stand, and it's Darby Allin saying, "I want to face even if you are the, I want to face someone even if they're the best in the world." All these little subtle hints take place in Chicago, but they never fully say it, and that's what it is. It's like, are you 100% or not? You're not know for a fact, and I fucking love that shit. That is entertainment to me. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
I love Macho Man. I know you said we couldn't do this now. I firmly believe you could have something like this today. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. Harley Race and the Junkyard Dog, they show you a video package between their history, right? And where this feud is coming up to. Gene Okerlund is with Harley Race, the king of wrestling, Bobby Heenan, and the queen of wrestling,
No, Moolah.
Fabulous Moolah, somehow
Just a
fucking
waste.
finagle
Just.
in
Well, you
there.
know what though? She's more like a prop on this than an actual
Yes.
character.
Yes. But it also led me to the idea of let me more, it would put more, fuel to the fire of maybe she had something on this man to
Dude,
constantly
she's the
go.
only woman besides Liz that's on this show.
Absolutely, she
Yeah.
is. By the way, first to WrestleMania, there's a women's match with a women's belt. Ray is absolutely right. By the third WrestleMania, there is no women's title, and she is,
No women's
besides
match.
Miss Elizabeth, she's the only other female involved in this
The
WrestleMania.
midgets have a match, and the women don't.
Yeah,
And this is
crazy.
the
Yeah, the
biggest
little
WrestleMania of all
people
time.
have a match, the women don't. This is crazy.
So it went from the semi-main event to not even being on the card. But Moolah is still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they give a quick promo and stuff, and then they go back to the commentary booth, and Bob Uecker really wants to fuck. He just wants to fuck Moolah. And he wants to fuck Moolah so bad he leaves the commentary team to go find her so Fox have sex with her.
What you would call it? Yeah, Bob Uecker was good on commentary as well. You know, I don't. The thing about Errol Hawani, these fucking wrestling journalists had a heart attack that he was on WWE this week. He
Yeah.
basically was. He basically is like the modern day Bob Uecker. He's not a wrestling reporter. He can go there as a fan and participate as a fan. He's an MMA reporter. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare him to Bob Uecker, but I have no fucking problems with this guy working with WB. You know? Hey, you know
But
what?
like,
Denise Alceida from fucking Wrestling Observer work? Didn't she work with fucking WWE before?
yeah,
So what isn't that? Wait, what's that?
because they don't like the fact that he didn't like Tony Khan. You have to love
Yeah,
if
exactly.
you're
That's
in
what
the
it is.
wrestling media, you have to love Tony Khan. You have to
Your
just think
views
he's
are
just the
fucking
best.
biased. Yeah, and you know what? I don't fault them because I understand. Everybody loves cocaine. I get.
And the fact that he fucking just put it out there with Snowman.
Yeah. So Gene Okerlund interviews Junkyard Dog, and Junkyard Dog says he's gonna get the crown. We go to match number 4, Harley Race with Moolah and Bobby Heenan versus Junkyard Dog. The loser will have to bow to the winner. This match is fucking what it is, and then
I did think Harley Race doing the headbutt to the floor. No one's ever done that spot since. I thought that was like pretty impressive for his age.
You're right, that is true. At this point,
He
Harley
basically
Race
did the Chris Benoit headbutt, but to the fucking floor, which is
to
crazy.
the thin mat onto the concrete outside.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, Harley Race is like way past his prime, and to be fair, Junkyard Dog at this time is past his prime.
Yeah,
you know what? I was
but the
watching
crowd
this
is still into the match, so
yeah. So the finish comes when Harley hits a belly-to-belly side suplex, similar to how Scott Steiner does it, and Harley wins the match just out of the blue. People are like kind of like surprised. So
Junkyard Dog. Did you notice Junkyard Dog kind of kicked out too a little bit?
Yeah, he did, but he lost still at the end.
And
it was a clean finish at the end.
It was a weird finish though. Yeah.
Yeah, Junkyard Dog, he does do a curtsy and he bows to Harley. But then as soon as he bows, he picks up the fucking chair. He hits Harley with it and he wears the fucking cape, but he doesn't get the crown. And he fucking rides the fucking little cart out. And Harley Race still gets up on the apron and raises his arm in that iconic shot. What did you think about this match? It's pretty much nothing.
I mean, it was okay. I do think now watching Starrcade '83 all the way through, I definitely think this King shit was a rib on Harley. Like they were making fun of Harley.
Yeah, because he's calling himself the king of wrestling.
I'm the king. He's dressed like an idiot. I'm the king of wrestling. And like earlier, he's like such a badass in Starrcade '83. But I mean, the match was fine. It was what it was. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst. But you know what? The fans liked it, and they got some home happy.
So I was like perplexed at how clean they beat Junkyard Dog because he's so fucking popular.
At the time, he was really on drugs. He was really.
And I started looking up stuff about Junkyard Dog, and they kept talking about how out of shape he is and out of shape he is. And I was like, does he get more out of shape than this? So I looked him up. If you Google 1982 Junkyard Dog, he is in such great shape. I always thought he had a gut, right? He did not look like that. This guy had like a really good looking body. And by the time he's already in WWF, he's already in a fucking terrible shape.
Yeah.
So I always thought he had a gut. No, before that, he didn't have a gut. He was one of those weird people that got into cocaine and just got fatter, surprisingly.
Yeah.
But he was already a drug addict when he was already in WWE. I think that's why they never fucking gave him a good push. That's probably why. But
yeah, no, but I mean, for what it was fine. You know,
there's that iconic shot of Harley just raising his hand on the turnbuckle. There's a lot of the iconic shots you remember that WWE uses.
Oh yeah, well, when Junkyard Dog died,
this pay-per-view,
when Junkyard Dog died, and they played the tribute to him on Raw in '98. They used most of the footage they used was from 3. You wrestled in 3, they used that footage. When Hogan dies, all the footage is going to be from 3.
Yeah, I can see that.
Same thing with Ricky Steamboat.
Speaking of Hogan, Vince McMahon interviews Hulk Hogan, who cuts a fucking promo on Andre the Giant. Basic Hogan promo. We go to match number 5, the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond, versus the Dream Team of Greg the Hammer Valentine, Brutus Beefcake, with Johnny Valentine and Dino Bravo, who do cut a very short promo right before the match.
Pretty shitty promo.
Yeah, it's shitty, but thank God it's fucking short. It's really short. Bobby Heenan joins commentary, and basically what happens is Raymond, he holds up Greg the Hammer Valentine, and Jacques hits basically like he holds him up in like a electric chair, and Jacques hits like what looks like a flying dick in the face, where he just fucking puts his dick right in the guy's face.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it looks like. There's a melee, the ref is distracted, and Dino Bravo, he hits fucking Raymond, who reverses the cover and the Dream Team's win. After the win, Beefcake is somehow not happy that they won. He didn't like the way they won. So the bad guys getting that little card to leave, but they don't. They just leave Beefcake. He's like, no, that's not how we should have won. What did you think of this match?
I thought the match was useless except for the face turn, which made Beefcake into a household name. You know,
Yeah,
it's kind of useless as a match. The Rougeos were terrible as good guys. It's kind of useless as a match, but it's important because this is how you get to Brutus the Barber.
they are not the most useless good guys on the show.
No, there's other useless guys, but
No,
they're much better as heels. We'll see that as time goes by.
yes, okay, I agree. There is a package on the history between Roddy Piper and adorable Adrian Adonis and how they got to where they are. Both going to cut promos. Let me go to match number 6. Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis or Jimmy Hart. It is the loser has to get his head shaped. So everybody's writing those little cards. I love those little cards. Wait, before we continue, what are your thoughts on those little cards?
I like them. I wish they would use them more.
Is this the only pay-per-view they use?
No, they
those
use
little
at
cards?
6 as well.
Okay. I think I know why they don't use them as much. Because if you watch, this gives a lot of people time to throw garbage at
Oh yeah.
you. There's a lot of garbage thrown in this.
Oh well, that yeah. But you know what though? That shot of Macho Man being carted away while Elizabeth's consoling him, they're throwing garbage at him. That shot is like that's like a movie shot, bro. So
Dude,
like,
every shot where somebody's in a car is great. Literally,
yeah,
it is. And here's this thing: Roddy Piper is one of the few people who are not going to use the cart, and he
yeah,
actually just kind of jogs down. And because he is jogging down, and while everyone else rolled these carts, it's almost like a moment where you're just like,
yeah.
holy shit, why is this guy jogging down? And they mentioned that this is Piper's retirement match. Piper is now a good guy, and people are going crazy because they think that this is Piper's last wrestling match when he has actually worked everybody.
Well, at the time, he thought he was going to be a big movie star, and that didn't work out. So
No, 100% didn't work
he
out.
thought he was going to be what The Rock became. And
I
I'm
wish
sure
I
if he
was,
did, he wouldn't have come back. So.
I'm, I wish I was friends with Piper because I would have told him, dude, fucking get out of fucking stop being delusional. I've
This
seen your I've seen your acting.
this match,
It's not terrible, but let's not be honest.
I feel like when Piper left, he was never the same. He comes back and he has some good moments and some good matches, but he was never as good as he was from 84 to 87. That was his problem.
You know what? This is the best part. We're gonna see it happen. We're gonna
Yeah.
actually see it happen. So Piper is in control most of this match. There is like both Adrian Adonis and fucking Jimmy Hart are just bumping everywhere. Adrian Adonis is in terrible shape. He looks
Yeah.
disgusting,
He gets fatter,
but
but he's still a good worker.
yeah, he is bumping so well, like just falling down and flopping all over the place. Great for a guy his size. It's amazing. It looks amazing. There's a point where Jimmy Hart trips Piper and he sprays that fucking perfume in his fucking eyes. What was that
Yeah.
perfume called again?
Not arrogance, I forget, but keep going. I forget.
Yeah. And Adrian Adonis puts his sleeper hold, which he called Goodnight Irene, on Piper, but he drops it before the referee raises Piper's hand 3 times. Brutus comes into the ring out of nowhere and just starts going, "Hey, Piper, wake up, Piper." Piper wakes up, puts a sleeper on freaking Adrian Adonis, and he wins. And afterwards, he lets Brutus shave fucking Adrian Adonis' head, and Piper holds Jimmy Hart, and he while this is happening, and then as they're leaving, a fan jumps into the ring to hug Jimmy or Roddy Piper and he gets fucking tackled.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
remember that. I thought that was at all this time. I thought that was planned. I guess it wasn't. Listen,
no,
he
no,
was running
I
to
mean
hug him.
it didn't look planned to me because he's
No,
Piper's
no, no.
probably
I know now it's not planned. When I was a kid, I thought it was planned. I thought
oh
that was
yeah.
like a friend of his.
Some kid just like runs to the ring. I think he shakes hands with Piper. But Piper like first goes like, "What the fuck?" And then he goes, "Oh, okay, what's up?" And he shake your hand. And as soon as they're done shaking hands, these two security guys just tackle this fucking guy. What do you think about match number 6?
It was great. I mean, if this had been Piper's retirement match, it is a way to go. But in a way, I feel like it is Piper's retirement match. With the exception of WrestleMania 8, he's just never as good. He's like they kind of treat him for the rest of his life like he's retired and he's just kind of hanging around. Um, I kind of if I can go back in time and tell him don't leave because I feel like if he didn't leave, he eventually would have got the world title like in '89 or '90 or something. Like I don't know, like I feel like this changed how Vince saw him for good. He was
Yeah.
never the same after he left.
If I could go back in time, I would be like, Roddy, you need to keep yourself healthy and not die because 20, 30 years from now, you're going to meet a guy who owns a wrestling company who will end up being your best friend.
Oh, oh, you know, Piper would be the commissioner.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, you
But
can imagine the amount of fucking trouble those two would have got together.
but dude, yeah, it's a pretty good match. It's a pretty good send off for Piper. It's still, I know, like there's 20 more years of Piper's bullshit. I mean, he wins the fucking tag belts in 2006. But to me, when I watch this match, I still kind of feel like it's almost like the end of something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It did feel that way,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Even though we know it's not, and we know 2 years from now, but it was never as good.
It was so fucking random
And I
how
love the
Bruce.
way they transition from Piper leaving to now Bruce Beefcake is one of our top guys.
Yeah, but why did Brutus just come down?
Because they needed to because probably Vince like this is how you become the barber, you know?
Oh, it was random though. It was
It
very random.
was, yeah.
The
It would have been
fans
better
did
if
not
Jimmy
care, by the
Hart
way. The fans didn't care.
I know, but they cared but then because he did this, I mean, by the end of '87, he's like a huge baby face.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Let me make sure I make myself clear. The fans popped and were excited about this. I meant the fans did not care that it was so random. Like to me,
Yeah,
it made no
no, yes, yes,
sense.
yes. Okay, that's good. I
Yes,
thought you meant the fans didn't
that's what
care.
I meant. No, no, no.
No, no, this
When
was
Brutus comes in, the fans and he's waking up Roddy Piper. Their fans are going crazy. I felt like I was the only one going. But why? Why is Brutus
the
helping
why
Roddy
is
Piper?
the why is like I think people wanted to cheer for Bruce Beefcake. Now they can,
Oh, that's
and
probably
not
what
only
it is.
can they, but it's pretty apparent he's going to have a big role. So
Yes,
it's
yes.
like,
But yeah, the fans ate this up 100%.
yeah,
100%.
dude, people like Bruce Beefcake. I like Bruce Beefcake back in
I
the
like
day.
Brutus Beefcake, dude. Since starting from WrestleMania 1 to now, I fucking love Brutus Beefcake. He's not a bad wrestler. He's the only one who actually cares about his fucking gear. And he's got a good physique. What can you what? And he's got a great name, Brutus Beefcake. You know
Yeah. So like,
what's
yeah,
up the line?
he's over. So, but yeah, no, it's smart because Piper's leaving, and instead of just being like, oh, what are we gonna do? It's like, well, Piper's gone, but we're gonna elevate Beefcake. Now he's what you thought Piper was. Here he is.
Exactly. We go back to the commentary booth. Gorilla Monsoon's with Bob Uecker and Mary Hart, and Bob Uecker still wants to fuck Moolah. There's no Jesse Ventura because Jesse Ventura is
Well, he
being the
goes down to the ring. Yeah.
yeah, he goes out to the ring. Gene Okerlund, they cut to the back where Gene Okerlund has a promo with the Hart Foundation and Danny Davis, who's no longer a referee.
No,
Right?
now he's dangerous.
He was a referee who turned heel, and now he's a wrestler. We go to match number 7. It's a trios match. Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation with Jimmy Hart versus the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana. And the British Bulldogs do have Matilda with them. As soon as they get into the ring,
Oh, Matilda's a great
Matilda
worker.
attacks Jimmy Hart. How did they fucking do that?
I don't know, but maybe Matilda really didn't like Jimmy Hart in real life.
Oh, dude, I was like,
Matilda. I saw that. I was watching it with my Matilda. You know, Matilda's named after that dog. That's where I got
of
the name.
course, I love your Matilda.
Yeah, and I was like, damn, Matilda knew how to work. That was a cute dog, man. And I've read sites like shit on it. I don't know. I thought it was. I mean, I thought it was a good gimmick, and I thought the dog running was a good moment. It was a big pop. It didn't take away from the match. And they take Matilda comes out. They take her away. Like I think coming out with a dog like that, and having the dog do something funny is not really the end of the world. People
I
people shit on it
think
nowadays. I don't think it was that
that
funny.
so if you guys are wondering why Jesse Ventura is actually in the ring,
I think
he's
it was
like
take
a
the dog away.
heel commentator and he likes the bad guys. So during this match, he steals Matilda and he takes her away from the ring. As that's an excuse. Like he's trying to even the odds for the bad guys. That's the whole point of this.
I think the real
Um,
reason was they probably figured Matilda might freak out because it's so many people.
yeah, or take
You
a
got to get
shit,
Matilda to the back.
Exactly. Which I thought this is a great way to do it. Right?
I think it was. I really think the British. Again, you look back, like the British Bulldogs didn't like Matilda and they were abusive towards her, and it's like, well, that's why you get what you deserve.
Wait,
Because
they were?
yeah, I told you that a week ago. I told
What,
you
what did
that
they do?
they would feed it laxatives and then lock it in the locker room to shit on everyone's bags and stuff.
That's awful.
Yeah,
You know what?
and
I
that's
don't
why I think
feel
it's like
bad.
if you had worked with Matilda, you guys would have gotten somehow even more over than you were. And you guys might have, but like Davy Boy Smith, luckily he had Brett and Owen and to have his back, so he was always in the company, but he never was he never was the star he could have been. And Dynamite Kid wound up being a nobody. Like you get what you deserve. You treat that dog like shit, and
The poor
karma got
defenseless
back at both of them,
animal, like you're cruel to a poor defenseless animal that's helping you make money.
helping you get over.
Yeah, you are a terrible human being. You should be like Coco Beware, and you fucking give that animal proper respect by letting it die in a house fire. That's what you fucking do. You fucking
But it's like,
terrible.
dude, did that pop? When Matilda attacks Jimmy Hart,
Yes.
that's a pop, man.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm sorry that they're not popping for you, Dynamite Kid, doing 97 rolling fucking headbutts like Dave Meltzer
But
wanted.
didn't I say that I did not think Dynamite Kid was a good wrestler? Remember, I
Yeah.
said I was like, he's a good technical wrestler, but I don't get any emotional connection from him. And you know what? I'm glad you told me. If this is
I
true,
told you already. I think you just forgot because you're drunk. But it is what it is.
if this is true, this
It
is
is
fucking
true.
terrible.
Did
I
Dynamite
hope
Kid put in his book?
I'm glad both those guys are fucking dead. And
Yeah.
I hope and I'm glad Davy Boy's son is not doing shit. Fuck you.
Well, he didn't abuse it.
No, but you know what? What comes around goes around. Anyways, there's a melee in this match. The ref gets distracted. Danny Davis uses the megaphone for Jimmy Hart to hit fucking animal abuser Davy Boy Smith in the head for the win. Danny Davis and the Hart Foundation win. What did you think about these animal abusers?
This match was fine. It's a good way to get over the Danny Davis storyline. Again, it didn't set the world on fire. By the way, we're keeping track of certain wrestlers. Good match versus bad match. Right now, Bret Hart is 1-1. He had a good match WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 3. Not that good. What do you think? Bret Hart 1-1?
WrestleMania 2, he was in a battle royal, which he did a good job selling for Andre the Giant. It was a short amount of time. I thought in this match, but this isn't a match to showcase that.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that great a match. So I'm gonna say he's 1-1 right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. 1-1 is fine. I agree with that. All right, Gene Okerlund, he is with Bobby Heenan and Andre the Giant, and they mentioned that Andre the Giant, he picked this date of WrestleMania 3 that he wants Hogan. He wants a belt. Hogan has no chance. Great promo by fucking Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan, chef's kiss. Fucking great. Fucking great. There's so many people on this show that I'm like, you guys are fucking legends. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Not like the Boogie Woogie Man and Paul Jones.
Yeah. But you know who else isn't a legend? The participants in this next match. Match number 8. King Coco Beware with Frankie versus the Natural Butch Reed with Slick. Coco Beware. This is the first time we're seeing him in WWE, correct?
I mean, we're seeing him. He might have been on TV before.
Oh, but we haven't seen him in WrestleMania.
We haven't seen him. No, this is his first pay-per-view appearance.
Yeah. He is so fucking popular, right? And I totally get when you see him with the fucking bird and his name, the Coco Birdman, Coco Beware, and he's doing the fucking thing with the fucking sunglasses. You totally fucking fall in love with this guy, right?
Yeah. Then he
And
wrestles.
his wrestling, I was watching this going like, where everyone keeps shitting on his wrestling, how his wrestling wasn't that good. It's not the worst,
Mhm.
but it's also not the best. You know, but you know what? Who the fuck cares? He has so much charisma. Coco Beware does a crossbody on Butch Reed, but Butch Reed reverses it and he holds the tights so that he wins. After he wins, Coco Beware attacks fucking Butch Reed and shit because he's mad, and then Slick attacks him. And out of nowhere, Tito Santana just comes in and makes the save, and he just starts ripping up fucking Slick clothes. This is the second time I believe Tito Santana just kind of runs in and makes a save on another good guy, right?
Yeah, this
And
is the WrestleMania one. Now this one. Apparently,
what
he
is
had a problem with Slick. I don't know what I don't. They don't. This is the one time WWE doesn't do a good job explaining the backstory of why Tito's so mad at Slick.
Yeah, they didn't explain it. They did not explain that as well. Yeah. I just thought it was a random run-in, like kind of like Barber, Brutus Beefcake. Just kind of random.
No, they said they Gorilla alludes to like he has some problems with him. They don't.
Oh yeah, you're right. He did.
Maybe
He said,
he just doesn't like black guys. He was like, "What the fuck is this black guy doing here? 3 black guys in a ring? Not on my watch. It's WrestleMania." Um, Fucking Slick though is great. Slick is very
Slick is
underrated as a
great.
manager.
Slick
You
is
know what
great. Yeah.
Slick does that I never picked up on? I've rewatched this show so many times. Slick stays in the ripped up clothes for the match,
Yes,
which I thought was so fucking funny. It's such a
it is
funny
really
little
funny.
thing. Yeah.
Yes. What do you think about Coco
This match was
Beware?
all right. I always forget this match is on this card.
I like Coco Beware, but I will always like Coco Beware.
Butch Reed is another guy that I think they could have done more with.
Oh,
That
he looks like $1 million.
that they never really do anything with, and I'm always shocked that because he's lasted like a year and change. He's also at WrestleMania 4, but like they never really did anything with him, and I kind of feel like he should have gotten more.
Butch Reed looks like he looks great.
Yeah.
Coco is small. I didn't realize how small he was until he was I saw him against Butch Reed, and he'll always have a special place for me. But yeah, he just was like,
He's the
besides
Birdman.
the bird, he didn't really have anything
Mhm.
else. We get a Ricky Steamboat, Randy Savage video package, and afterwards, Randy Savage cuts a promo, and Gene Okerlund is with Ricky Steamboat cutting a promo. I will say the intensity in Ricky Steamboat's promo was fucking great. I fucking loved it. And we're gonna go into match number 9, the meat and fucking potatoes of this fantastic.
Look at this shirt. Look at this shirt.
I know. That is it. That is the meat and fucking potatoes, guys. It is match number 9 for the Intercontinental Championship. We got Randy Savage, the champion, with Miss Elizabeth versus Ricky Steamboat and George, the Animal Steel. They do emphasize why George is there during the video package. And the beginning is back and forth. They're just back and forth until Steamboat gets clothesline outside the ring. And after that, it is just Steamboat selling, just acting like he's hurt, making it look like every fucking kick and punch is fucking killing him until there's a point where Savage gets dumped outside and, Ricky Steamboat's coming back and everyone's like, oh, he's covering, he's going to get the win. But fucking Randy Savage puts his foot on the rope and everyone's like, oh, it didn't count. Dude, the people are invested in that. The referee is Dave Hebner, and he takes a ref bump. So he's down, which allows Randy Savage to hit the elbow drop.
And he gets the visual 1, 2, 3.
It's clearly a 1, 2, 3, but there's no ref. So this motherfucker, he goes outside and he goes, let me get that fucking ring bell like you've seen him do in the video package they showed earlier. He gets up. This is my favorite part. The timekeeper actually fights him. Says, no, what the fuck are you doing? They don't do that shit anymore. No. The timekeeper's like, what the fuck are you doing? Randy Savage is like, get the fuck out of here. He pushes this fucking motherfucker out. And he gets up with the fucking ring bell up into the top. George steals it, but Savage kicks him in the face. He drops it. He gets the ring bell, gets back up on top. George Steele goes and pushes him off. Savage falls on the fucking mat, which the jumbling of the mat kind of wakens up the referee. He stands up, favoring his back. He gets put into a small package by Ricky Steamboat. Steamboat wins because the referees now come out of it. As soon as the match is over, they show you Liz, and Liz is so sad that her husband lost. They show you Ricky Steamboat,
Well, they're
who is
not married yet in the storyline.
who she's upset that
Her boyfriend.
her boyfriend is lost. They show you Ricky Steamboat. This guy is still out of it. That means he's still selling. He's just like, oh, I'm so exhausted. They show you fucking Randy Savage arguing with the referee, like, dude, I fucking had won the match. What the fuck were you? George Steele carries Steamboat into the little cart. I saw this match years ago, and I thought this was one of the best matches I had ever seen. It still holds up today. This is legit one of the best matches I've ever seen.
This match is what made WrestleMania WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It was WrestleMania 1 is good and it's historic because it's the first one. WrestleMania 2 is what it is. But this is the first match where this is like an epic. The entire world is locked into this match. They are changing they're changing the industry. Every single move. It is one of the best, most important matches of all time. It really changed the game. It really is. There's so many shots where you feel like you're watching a movie. You know,
If you are a wrestling fan, you are not a wrestling fan until you watch this match. You have to watch this match. Like, you have to understand, if you want to say you're a fan of wrestling, you absolutely have to watch this match. If you don't watch this match ever, I never want to hear your opinion about wrestling.
Everyone who goes into WrestleMania is trying to replicate this match every single year since '87. It's one of the most important matches, and to me, it really because we've watched all these shows now in a row. We're watching the chronological order. It really does feel like the evolution. Like, okay, now people are going to start taking pay-per-view seriously because this is not just a good match. This isn't just a good. Everything about this is great, and it's near perfect.
Yeah. If you are listening to this, if you do not watch this match, you are not a true wrestling fan.
Well, if you're listening to a WrestleMania 3 podcast, you've never seen this match. I don't know what you're doing. So.
Yeah, you need to watch this fucking match.
Yeah.
Mean Gene is with Alice Cooper. I'm sorry, Jimmy Havoc. It's with Jimmy Havoc.
Jimmy fucking Havoc.
I miss Jimmy Havoc. I actually do. And he is with Jimmy Havoc and Jake Roberts. And they show you the video package of when Honky Tonk Man hit Jake Roberts with fucking the guitar in the snake pit over his head and beat him with it. And then Gene Okerlund interviews Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart. And I actually loved Honky's promo. He goes, "There's no nightmare music like Alice Cooper." It's like, I love that. There's no nightmare music. I love that. We're going to go to match number 10. Jake Roberts with Alice Cooper versus Honky Tonk Man with Jimmy Hart. God, you guys, so this match is happening, and there's a moment, the ending comes when Jake Roberts grabs Honky Tonk Man and he pulls him into the corner and he signals for the DDT in the fucking corner when fucking Jimmy Hart holds fucking Roberts' leg, distracts him, which allows Honky Tonk Man to trip him down. And instead of putting his feet on the ropes, he puts his hand on the rope for the win. The same fucking finish we've seen at every fucking pay-per-view, just slightly different. Jake Roberts is mad. He smashes this Honky's guitar, and then Jimmy Hart is left in the ring, and Alice Cooper confronts him, and then Jake Roberts and Alice Cooper put the fucking snake on Jimmy Hart, and then there's that iconic shot at the end where fucking Jake Roberts points right at the fucking hard camera. What did you think of this match?
So I recently listened to the Jake the Snake podcast about this match, and the host goes to Jake, "Did you know that you had a hard time following these guys, or were you gonna try to try to steal the show from Ricky and Randy?" No. He goes, "Of course I knew we were fucked." He goes, "But you know what I did? I took it down. I can't out wrestle. Me and Honky can't out wrestle those guys. So we have to get the crowd to calm down. We have to go at a slower pace to get the show back on track. That's why we were there." And then when you know that about the match, you get it. Like they were in an unwinnable position. They have to follow at that point the best match in the world. And instead, they're basically being like, all right, go to the bathroom, get your popcorn, calm down. That was their job, and they did an okay job. When as a kid, I liked the match. When I learned that Jake the Snake deliberately had like a regular match because he knew he couldn't beat them, I liked it more. So
I can't believe Jake Roberts had a podcast. That must be one of the hardest things to listen
it's with DDP. Actually, DDP makes it hard.
to.
DDP has like 6 stories, dude. You could ask DDP constantly goes back to that feud with Macho Man. You would have thought that feud with Macho Man like changed the world. He constantly goes back to that fucking feud, bro. Like you could say to him like, "Oh man, my dog got run over by a car. That's how I felt when I wrestled Macho Man at Spring Stampede '97. Nobody thought that Macho Man would want to work with me. Like every fuck dude, they have episodes. It was an episode of MJF, and it got into a story about Macho Man Randy Savage and his feud with him.
Dude, how is it? How are you able to listen to Jake Roberts speak for that long?
He's got more stories. This guy doesn't. This guy.
I cannot stand his voice right now. It's so.
Oh, really? No, his voice is better on the podcast.
Oh, it's so like, hey, dude. He made those choices in his life to have his voice be like that.
I mean, he's in a better place now, and that's why the podcast is kind of more interesting. But DDP
wasn't an asshole in his previous life.
It's crazy how few stories DDP has. He has like 6 stories, and no matter what the topic could be, the war in the Ukraine, he's going to relate that to him wrestling Macho Man at Spring Stampede '97.
Yes.
It's like, did you even live a life? Like, why?
No, but I mean, he didn't wrestle. I know, actually, he was in the business for a long time.
Yeah, it's just. But anyway, the match was what it was to me, and I think it was basically the match so everyone could go get popcorn, and did its job.
That's fine with me.
This was, you know what I appreciate though about Jake and Honky Tonk Man is that see in AEW the next match they would have went 1,000 miles per hour.
Yes.
And here, like, not every match can be the show stealer, and you have to recognize that. And that's what separates the great workers and the legends from the fucking Sonny Siakis. No offense.
I did not like it because it had that same fucking shitty finish we see at every
but
fucking dude.
I mean, I didn't like it. I'm not saying I liked it, but for what it was, I understand why they did what they did.
If you guys are keeping count, we are seeing this fucking finish at least once every paper. It is the fucking.
It was the 80s.
They got the fucking feet on the rope or hand on the rope, and it's a fucking bullshit cover. Oh my god! Every time I see this, I want to slap everybody who works in wrestling because they all deserve to get fucking smacked for that.
Hebrew.
All right, Howard Finkel. He's in the ring with Gino Okerlund, who make a historic announcement that there are 93,173 people in this audience who are now set the indoor attendance record.
Mm-hmm. Now, and Dave Meltzer has spent 35 years trying to say that this is bullshit, and it's so fucking annoying, bro.
If you guys know anything about this, it is one of the most controversial attendance figures because, like you mentioned, Dave Meltzer, this fucking moron, makes such a big deal out of the fact that
let's say they lied and it's off by like 30 or 40,000. Do you give a fuck?
No, I do not care if it was 93,000 or fucking 93 people. Yes. I really do not care, especially since I've watched wrestling with no attendance. Okay? I do not care how many fucking people
they hang. And like Meltzer keeps going on and on about this, and I think he does it because, like, in a way to diminish this show. But what are you diminishing? Like, what do you care that? And I've seen Big Span do that too. Like, what does it matter if what if you found out there was nobody at the show? It was all holograms. Like, who cares?
Nobody gives a fuck about the attendance of any fucking show. Number 2, all of wrestling is fake.
Yeah.
It's fucking fake. So who the fuck cares that the number and attendance are fake? Okay,
Because
right?
every
To
time
keep it
there's a
all they're
discussion,
fucking Russian. Nobody fucking gives a fuck. Okay.
every single time there's a discussion about WrestleMania 3, him and a lot of these other guys run that the attendance was lied about, and it's like, what do you think that? Oh, you're right. They lied about they were off by 10, 20,000. Oh, the event sucks. Randy Savage match was garbage. Everything about this show is fucking garbage. You're right. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually like this show. No, doesn't matter. Shut the fuck up. You think you're gonna win something. You think you're gonna diminish what this was, and you never will. As time goes by, this will become more and more of a legend, and you will be forgotten about.
I we mentioned him a couple of times, and I hate saying his fucking name. So can we refer to Dave as the man who needs to die moving forward?
Jesus Christ! All right.
I'm gonna say,
I mean, I'm gonna go on another Meltzer rant with the main event,
the
and it's gonna be
man.
about a lot of people with the main event.
I'm gonna call him that. The man who needs to die.
Jesus, I'm trying to get him to show up at this fucking podcast.
Oh, dude, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We can edit that out. I'm so sorry. I
I know,
forgot.
we'll keep it in. You're not gonna
Uh,
be there. You're gonna be home watching WrestleMania on TV.
I'm not
Or you
gonna
might
be
even be
there.
at the hostel that night.
Yeah. Um. Oh, you're probably right. Match number 11. This is the penultimate match. The match right before the main event. The Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov. The true. This is really, if you think old school WWE, this is the tag team you should really think about. This represents all of the tag teams in WWE at the old school WWE in the 80s. They've literally been like a tag team for like every single WrestleMania so far, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, not WrestleMania 2, but yeah.
Yeah. But they're both there. They're like the Bebop and Rocksteady. They're always
Yeah, they
like
really are. They're
the
like the
bumbling,
henchmen. Yeah.
the bumbling foreign heels that just there's always there. This time they are with not Freddie Blassie, but
Slick.
Slick,
Hmm?
who's got the shredded up clothing
Yeah, we
because
talked about that earlier. That's funny
Chico
shit.
Santino fucking ripped up his clothing. So this is the Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Slick versus the Killer Bees. And right before the match begins, Hacksaw Jim Duggan fucking just runs to the ring right when Volkov is about to sing the national Russian anthem. And he gets on the mic, chases him out, and he calls out Volkov, and he goes, oh, like, yeah, we're American. We don't give a shit about the Soviet Union. There's all this garbage
Mm-hmm.
in the ring that fans have pelted into the ring because of the singing. And they're going to wrestle with all this garbage still in the ring. This is like the one match, there's all this garbage in the ring. And let me tell you something. You said that the Rougeaus were the worst baby faces in this pay per view. I disagree. It is
Killer
the
Bees.
Killer Bees. Nobody
The Killer Bees and the Rougeaus basically have no character. They're just four guys that stand there.
You know what though? The Killer Bees are worse because they have a shittier name and they have shittier gear. And I think I really was never a fan of the Killer Bees. And if you watch this today, you watch it now. Mm-hmm. The fans do not give a shit about the Killer Bees at all. At all. The
only purpose of these two matches, at least you hate this thing, was to calm everyone down before Hulk Hogan came out.
Yes, exactly. Nobody cares. All these spots, nothing's happening. Iron Sheik has to get up on the apron and try to draw heat. Nothing's happening. Finally, Jim Duggan starts chasing people around the ring with the fucking 2x4, and he gets into the ring and he sees the Sheik, and he just fucking hits the Sheik with a 2x4, gets a DQ. The fucking Killer Bees are mad because Jim Duggan cost them the match, but Jim Duggan gets back on the mic and starts a USA chant, and everybody's happy.
I think they were trying to. I think that the way they were doing Jim Duggan was like a prototype Stone Cold. Like he just doesn't even care what he does. Like you know what I mean? But like it was still like for kids. But they couldn't have him like stunner the bees.
So. Yeah, but just look stupider. It felt like he was doing it. He was like legit like stupid, and he didn't realize what he did.
They do eventually make him stupid months later. But I think the first introduction was he was supposed to be like just this blue collar tough guy who doesn't care who he pisses off. Yeah.
Yeah, like he has the best intentions in mind, but like he doesn't think about the consequences, so he causes bigger problems. But
Yeah,
he legit
like
like
America. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he just goes, you know what? I understand. I did that. You know what else? USA, USA. That's what it feels like it's happening. And
That
he was
was
so
yeah.
happy. Even the Killer Bees, they lost, but they're in back in that little car with Jim Duggan, like all fucking happy. It's so funny. That's another gimmick they should bring up. Some guy who just like his heart's in the right place, but he causes all these
That should
issues.
be
But
Chad Gable.
yeah, or you know what, Otis, should
Otis,
100%
yeah,
be
yeah,
his
yeah,
gimmick,
yeah.
where he causes all these problems, and then he doesn't even apologize. He just goes, you know what though,
But
I
by
just
the
want to
way,
say,
do you
America
think
is the best country in the
do you
world.
think they're redoing the Otis storyline now with Maxine to kind of prove to Mandy Rose that like we could just put anyone in your place?
I don't know if they're doing that for Manny Rose, but I think they're definitely going back to Otis's strong point.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just such a rerun of the Mandy Rose story, and they have beef with her. It does to me it feels like there's also this little like you weren't that fucking special. Otis could do this with anyone. I don't know.
I would say WWE also has a history of that, so it's very plausible.
Yeah,
100%
yeah.
plausible.
We'll
Yeah.
see how it plays out, Otis. But when they started, I was like, ugh,
I would say
really?
this. I didn't even think about that until you just said it now,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
But now that you say that, it does make sense. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that legit. But the same way I didn't think about the snowman until you brought it up.
Mhm.
Some things are just really right over my head, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like the Otis Maxine storyline's a huge thing. I mean, but it does kind of feel
No,
like
you're right. Now that you bring that up, I was like, I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense so much. Gene Okerlund, he's with Bobby Heenan and Andre the Giant. We actually hear Andre speak, and it's terrible.
oh.
So
Great
Bobby Heenan speaks for him. We get a video package of what transpired between these two. It's great. It
video
tells
package.
you exactly how they were friends. They're not friends anymore. And Andre fucking challenges him. Hogan doesn't want to do it, but he rips this guy's not only his
Andre,
shirt, but
no, dude. Yeah.
his faith. He rips his faith, and that's why they're gonna fight. Mean Gene was with Hogan. Hogan cuts another Hulk Hogan promo, and we go to the ring. The guest ring announcer Bob Uecker, guest timekeeper Mary Hart. There's a great fucking Jesse Ventura cuts a fucking. I love this joke he cracks at Jack Lanza for this. We go to match number 12, our final match, main event from WWE Championship. It is Hulk Hogan, a champion, versus Andre the Giant with Bobby Heenan. During the intros, Hogan is the only other person just kind of like run, just fucking like go down
Walk
without
down
those
here.
little rings. Yeah. Jesse Ventura goes over both guys' measurements and a tail of tapes of audio. And it is fuck. Jesse Ventura will eventually sue Junior over the fucking money for doing his commentary. And when you listen to WrestleMania 3, you 100% know Jesse Ventura was in the right. He
Yeah.
definitely deserves
Yeah, he's a great
more
comment.
money.
Him and Gorilla are a great team. Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. And
The Wrestling Observer used to give Gorilla Monsoon the worst announcer of the year every year.
really,
This shows you how dumb this guy is.
the man, this is why everyone should not listen to the man who needs to die. Okay.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
go
we're
on a
gonna
rant
go.
about him and a couple other people in a second, but give me your report on the match.
Okay. Hogan, as soon as this match begins, Hogan goes for a quick body slam and he fails and he falls. And that is the story of the match because
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan is this 6'8" unbeatable guy.
Mhm.
But now he has hurt his back in the beginning of this match. So the rest of this match is just Andre fucking stepping on this motherfucker's back, Hogan just selling his back, how much it hurts. And there's even a point where Jesse Ventura does mention that this fucking guy hurt his back in the beginning of the match. That's why he's fucked up. They're in a bear hug spot. They mentioned that the referee is Joey Marella, who will
His
be
Gorilla's son. Yeah.
Gorilla Monsoon's son, real life son, who died really tragically, really early. Like he was like
Yeah.
31 years old or some shit in 1994. Anyway, Hogan is bear hug. and Hogan is just fucking dying, and all of a sudden he starts punching this guy in the head. He's fucking selling like his hand hurts. They collide, they fucking fall. They go outside the ring. Andre fucking headbutts the ring post without fucking blading. And they remove the fucking mat covers. There's exposed concrete. Hogan gets dumped on it, even selling his bag where he somehow get back in the ring. And there's a Hogan clothesline. And Andre falls down. And people talk about great sellers. Andre sold the shit out of this fucking clothesline. They made a big deal out of Andre's never fallen down. Andre has this not in pain look, but a shock look on his face. Like, how the fuck am I on my back? Everyone's going crazy. He gets up walks right into a body slam, a leg drop, and Hogan fucking wins the match. Hogan's thanking God right away. What did you think about this match?
It's great. Here for years, Dave Meltzer gave this match like negative, like 3 stars. It's the same rating that Charmel and fucking Jenna from Survivor have at a TNA pay-per-view in 2009. And I'm listening to Conrad today, and Conrad was saying to Tony, well, if you listen to this, if you watch the match with the sound down, it's really not that good. And I'm like, but the match didn't have the sound.
Oh my God. He gave it a negative 4-star rating.
Yeah, because he's a fucking idiot. All right? If you think this is a bad match, you're a fucking moron. All right? Was this the best match? No, it wasn't the best match on the show, obviously, but it's a good match. Hogan went in there knowing that Andre had limitations. Andre went in there knowing he had limitations. They put on a fucking show. They gave the crowd what they wanted. The crowd ate it up. The announcers put it over. The whole thing. You're not supposed to watch this match with the sound off. There's a whole presentation here. There's the announcers, there's the crowd, there's the camera. It's a whole like a movie. Like, yeah, if you watch fucking Iron Man with no special effects, it's probably not that good. But there are special effects, you dumb fuck. So it's a great match. It's a great way to end the show. If you think the fact he gave this negative 4 stars, like, you just hate on Vince because you hate on Vince. And I don't like Vince, and I don't like the WWF. And there's a lot of things they do that are very questionable. But this was a great match. End of the day.
I will say this. I did not know that the man who needs to die, and now I mean it even more. He really, like, if his life ended tonight,
Jesus,
I would not shed a tear. I didn't say I would do it, but I'm saying he's the man who needs to die.
But it's like, and then your caveat is like, if you watch this, okay, if I watch The Godfather with the sound off, it's probably not that good. What is that? You're not supposed to watch it like that.
This is why. He is actually criticizing people who are out there trying to make a living to feed their family, right? But he's criticizing
he's jealous. He's jealous because he liked NWA wrestling.
I know, but this is what I'm saying. He's criticizing them, not in it's clearly a biased view of it. And he's not judging them as a critic, but he's judging them from a biased perspective. So he's fucking with people's livelihoods and their family's livelihoods based on his biased judgment. This is why
he didn't really, because nobody gave a shit that he had to. But he
didn't care about these people's lives when he wrote negative things about them and terrible things about them. So
he has more sway now than he did back then. He really had.
So why should I care about his life, right? If he didn't care about other people's lives, why should anybody care about his life? Anyway, I didn't know he gave it a negative star. I just fucking looked it up, and if you go on Squared Circle on Reddit, because it's filled with geniuses, everyone is agreeing with this negative star rating, which tells me that fucking site is filled with goo. And there are fucking awful people.
Again, like, Andre was in bad shape. Hogan had to, like, work around him. But what they pulled off, considering all that, was great. I loved it as a kid. The crowd loved it. It got the job done. It's a better match than a lot of the NWA matches we've seen on this podcast. And it's a good match, and everyone wants to. This whole, like, if you watch all these caveats, if you watch with the sound down, if you watch with this, if you watch with that, shut up. I watched it with the sound on, and it was a blast. and it's a great match. Hogan is a good worker. You guys are idiots. The end.
Okay, I am. I said that Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat is like a match you need to watch if you're a fan of wrestling.
Yeah.
I am putting this match on that same list.
Yeah, I would
swear
say
to
the
God,
whole
I'm
show.
not making this up. If you ever want to talk to me about wrestling, if you did not watch these two matches, I don't want to fucking hear your opinion about wrestling. I really don't.
This
This is a
whole
classic
show.
match. This is a classic match. There is a clear story from the beginning to end that is only heightened up by the video package they show earlier. Okay, that's what the video package is supposed to be. It's like
And the announcers
it's like
also.
yeah. Those things add to it. But even if they didn't have any of that, you will understand the story of this match because it's a guy who's smaller, who believes in himself enough to fucking slam this fucking guy, goes for it right away, hurts his fucking back, and is in pain the whole rest of this match, and still at the end knocks the giant down and realizes he does still believe in himself, and then he does accomplish the slam that he attempted earlier and failed, but didn't give up on himself and believed in himself enough to do it. And right after the match, you know what he does? He fucking points and thanks God. Now, almost like saying, I couldn't have done it without you. Now, I know you guys, some of you guys don't believe in God and don't like this. That's fine. That's not about that. This is just about storytelling. The most of this country at this time, the majority are Christian. They ate this shit up with a fucking spoon. Dude, this is they after this match, they talk about how Andre the Giant's never been defeated for 15 years. This guy fucking won, and the whole time, 5 minutes after the fucking match, Hogan is just posing, thanking God multiple times. Gorilla Monsoon mentions it. He's thanking
the man above. Yeah.
This is very important that they're doing that because they know that the majority of their fan base is fucking God loving. And they're catering to their fans, guys. It's like if you're watching anyway, whatever. Anyway, no one's leaving. Everyone's fucking sticking around. If you watch Starrcade, they cannot wait to get the fuck out of their seats as soon as the fucking show is over. Here, people did not start leaving until 6 minutes after the fucking match.
WrestleMania 3 is probably one of the most important shows of all time. And when WWF got bad, and it does get bad, and we will see it, I think people always thought, well, if he did this, he can do it again. And eventually he does do some events that are just as good as this. But it's a home run, it's a shift. And to not give credit to this show back then and even now by shitting on the Hogan match and oh, you lied about attendance, you're an idiot, and no one should listen to you. But that's my take.
Yeah, no, that's my take too. Would you say that you agree that this is a must-watch match?
It's a must-watch show. I think you should watch the whole show. There's no excuse now. It's on Peacock. You know.
Okay. I mean, man, this is so far the best pay-per-view I've seen.
On this, doing this.
This is one of the best pay-per-views I've seen of all time.
Yeah,
but it's not one of the best, right? It's not the best.
Well, it's not Starrcade '84.
Yeah, so I want to reserve start to finish for the best pay-per-view I've ever seen. This is not one of them. I will say you don't have to watch the full thing because there is some fucking shit here that you really don't need to see, like Killer.
Well, the Killer Beast.
But can you see, let's say, the majority of it? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you can see like 90% of this pay-per-view. That's must watch. Just seeing like most of it, yeah. But it is really good. You need to watch. There's two must-see matches on one pay-per-view. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Well, I've got to go. I got to cut this short, but we didn't cut it short. We did the whole event. But
we did a long time.
Yeah, guys, follow the podcast, Goots' Wrestling Pod. Subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Next week, Andrew Lee, we're back to Starrcade 87. Rugged Ronnie Garvin versus Ric Flair.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I feel like Ric Flair. I'm like, oh, God.
Oh, God. All right, guys. We'll see you at Starrcade.